pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Hey, Shana. Actually, Linda's got a lot of noise going on in some place there, so I gotta either turn you down, Linda, or maybe you go to a quieter place. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by thanking Linda Lee for her service as a dedicated Board of Ed member and for always supporting our students. I would also like to welcome William Arp back to the Board of Ed and congratulate Bonnie Portia on winning another term with the Board of Ed. It was great news to see that the budget passed and will be adopted. There are many programs planned that will help support our students and staff as our school community moves forward and continues to bounce back from the impact of COVID-19. Tonight, I would like to recognize one of our students, Rachel Jamil, a junior, who won the 32nd annual Quest Star 3 Jury Art Preschool Art Show for her piece Insomniac. She was the first place winner out of 10 schools competing in the Capital District. Like Rachel, many other students in the high school will be finishing up their AP exams in the next week. All of my students finished today, or most of them. Our teachers have spent countless hours preparing them for success, and we wish them all the best. In our elementary school, I would like to put the spotlight on the Titan Strong program. This program has been so successful that it will be expanding into the intermediate school, which I think it might have already started. Okay, so I misspoke, it's already started there. We want to recognize our members for the work involved in developing and making this newly adopted program such a success. As we head into our final month of the 2020-2021 school year, I think we should recognize and celebrate that we have made it an entire school year providing in-person instruction to our students. At the start of the school year, I did not think it was possible, nor did I think it was a great idea, and I will happily admit that. But I'm extremely proud of our students and staff for making it work. And thank you again for your time this evening. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Shana. Motion for the acceptance of the agenda. Alicia, second. Heidi, any questions? Yep. Why can't hear me? Sorry.
I see several teachers up for tenure.
That's the consensus agenda.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
I don't worry, I know.
Okay.
Any questions on the actual agenda? On page. Dave?
Oh.
Okay. That's okay. Okay, now I need a motion for the acceptance of the consensus agenda. Motion, Ron, second. Dave, now.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, what is the criteria for achieving tenure? Because it wasn't clear to me, and I'm sure these are very capable teachers. It wasn't clear to me what the criteria is and how they met that criteria in order to be awarded tenure. Somebody address that?
Do you want our principals to
Want me to
address?
do that and they,
Sandra, you'd like to address it?
So Shane is also on the APPR committee, so if I forget something, please help me. But the APPR committee is what determines our evaluation system. However, we are required to work heavily within state statute. So this current year, we did seek an amendment to our APPR.
I'm sorry, maybe because of the mask, but I can't quite understand all of it.
I'll be glad to take it off. So our APPI is state mandated. That's our performance review assessment process. This year, we did seek an amendment to our APPI. And this year, faculty members that were non-tenured actually had 2 evaluations that were full-length evaluations. Previous to that, they spent 3 years under our previous APPI system, which was 1 formal and 1 informal evaluation. So those are the formal times where we actually score the teachers on their performance in the classroom, but there are many, many informal situations where we observe teachers in classrooms with parents, their work that they do to improve their instructional practice, and all of those go into a consideration of one of the administrators making the recommendation for tenure. The only time that changes is if they have had tenure in a previous district, then they have a 3-year time period. And they're evaluated the same way, just in 3 years instead of 4 years.
And for those 2 evaluations, who does those evaluations?
So this year, if they were not tenured, and they were in their first 2 years of their tenure track, they were evaluated by their direct supervisor both times. If they were in the last 2 years of their tenure track, they were evaluated by their direct supervisor and a second administrator. You're welcome.
Since you're on the topic of that, I just really wanted to recognize that the 5 teachers who are receiving tenure. It's such a significant event in your lives, and we all acknowledge the hard work that it takes to get there, whether you had the expedited because you worked in another district or the full 20 year. And congratulations. So good luck in the future.
I know our teachers take it very seriously, as we do as administrators, because it really is a career commitment, and it's important.
I'd also like, there's 2 people we have retiring. So we have Linda, who I'm not saying her name wrong, is Pavada.
Yes.
She's a teaching assistant, and we have Anthony Farrell, who's an elementary teacher.
Memory is here.
Where is she? Well, congratulations, Cindy. I heard this as well, so, you know, good luck into whatever life brings you next.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your service to the school district. Okay, any other questions, guys, or anything else you want to talk about? All right, all in favor? Thank you. Linda, can you hear me? Are you voting? Okay, I had to turn you down because there was so much background noise going on there that it was just, I couldn't hear the people talking, so I did turn you down, so I'm gonna put you up a little bit, okay? Sorry. All right, thanks, Craig. All right. Next up, we have the presentation, student spotlight. Antonia,
Lucretia.
thank you.
Yep. It's a beautiful day to
Laura
say.
Bailey.
But she has changed her name. I probably should put that, not stop. But this is Antonia.
And I gotta turn you down again, there's just too much noise there.
And Laura Beelman. I don't know, do I give us the mic again? I know I'm using my voice because of allergies, so it's hard to hear tonight. So I told them they were presenting to the board, so they had to face this way. It's not natural, but that's the etiquette. So Antonia and Laura are 2 of our teachers. We had 3 other teachers participate in professional development this year with our OMI. If you remember, we've had other teachers in previous years do summer institutes with our OMI. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen this past summer. So our OMI could creatively retool offered their program and they offered PD by subject areas throughout the year. And when it first came up, I thought of Antonia and Laura because they do a lot of team teaching with their English and social studies. And it just seemed like a natural fit into the Art OMI program. And from here, I'm going to let them tell you what they did and how their students have responded. But I really do appreciate that, both of them and the other teachers that have participated this year.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for having us, Board of Ed, Dr. Howard. We really enjoyed the Art OMI program. Can you hear me? Do I need to pick up? Okay.
Thank you.
Take it off. Take it off your comfort. Feel free.
Thanks, Moderna. Okay. So the program that we participated in, you can go to the next slide, was basically educators in Columbia County participated in this 4-week professional development opportunity. We attended 4 different Zoom conferences in which we were taught about different ways of engaging students in the humanities classes through the arts. It was facilitated by Art OMI, and I already said that, sorry. And we really enjoyed the experience. They brought to us a lot of different techniques. One was found poetry, which is using existing texts to create different poems. Can be a novel that you're reading with students or generated from a photograph or a word bank. Another one was monologues, which is one I've used in the classroom before this year, but it was nice getting a refresher and different ways of using this technique. Another technique that we tried out was having students sketch and draw to analyze photographs and artwork in different ways to help engage them and get them excited about a unit you're going to do or a book that you're going to read. So one way that I used the techniques that we learned was as an anticipatory activity for my 11th grade class's study of The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I gave the students on the board an image, which is from an original engraving of from The Scarlet Letter, which was, the text was published in 1850, so it's really an old image for them to look at. And what we had them do was sketch, look at it, soak it all in, sketch what you see, and without talking. And then afterwards, had them write down as much as they could think of from seeing this image. And it's a really exciting moment in the book where Hester is defending her daughter against the stuffy, leaders of the town. And it was really fun seeing what they thought the book would be about just based on the image. So here's some of the things that the students came up with just from seeing an image and knowing the title of the book. You can see a lot of their writing, this seems to be a book about religion. I believe this because the people look religious and look like there is a church. So they're picking up on details in the image and engaging with the subject matter before they even pick up the book. I like one student wrote, they would be in a church trying to take her baby. So they're definitely picking up on some of the things. And then even equally as interesting are the misconceptions that the students came up with just based on seeing an image, which was kind of fun to see. And then they get to see if their predictions are correct. And by the time we got to this part of the novel, they're like, oh, I didn't want to do that. So it was a really cool way to get them making predictions. And as we know, as teachers of reading, students who make predictions before they read a book or before they read a text, that's what skillful readers do. And it allows them to anticipate what they're going to read and understand more as they come up in the text, what they've discovered and what they've thought about. Another thing that we learned in the PD was the idea of having students write letters or monologues from the perspective of characters in books or characters in history. So one of the things that I teach this year, one of the courses is Credit Recovery English. So Credit Recovery English is a course that we offer to 10th through 12th grade students who have not been successful in a previous year of English. I like to call it English group therapy. It's a place where I'm trying to address the curriculum that the students were not able to be successful with, but in a more welcoming and accessible way, and make sure that they are proficient at that level. So I have students in 3 different grades in the same classroom, and I have to make sure that I'm addressing their needs and the curriculum of different classes in one room. So my solution to that was to rely upon the Columbia Teacher College Reading Writing Workshop format that I learned when I went there in graduate school. And so all the students in that class are reading different books, and they chose their books from, options that we gave them. It allows for an increase in student engagement and student choice, and we know that a student who picks their book is more likely to read their book. So what I did was, after this professional development, and we learned about this monologue technique, the students had different assignments that touched upon their different books in different ways. And one of them was having them write a monologue or a letter from the perspective of a character in their independent reading book. So we can take a look at some of their writing. And again, typical lesson, they have time to read and time to write. Let's see. I conference with each student and address their needs. After they've written a piece, we revise, we work on different parts of their writing, whether it be content or organization. And then here are some of their pieces that they wrote. So this is a student making up 9th grade English. He read the book Dear Martin by Nick Stone. This is from the perspective of the main character, Justice. And he wrote, "I'm still shook up about that night when you accused me of trying to steal from Mellow's car. Nothing could ever replace the feeling of hate and rage I had toward you from that day. It truly disgusts me how unnecessary you treated me that night and how you didn't even treat me as a decent human being. Just because I had my hood up doesn't justify anything at all and isn't even a good reason to attack me like you did. That day plays in my head like a movie every single night. It was without a doubt traumatizing." So working with students, and you get the idea of embodying the emotion and feeling of a character in a work of literature and getting them engaged and getting them writing something that they feel passionate about because they connect with the character in the work of literature. And this is, again, this is a student I taught in 9th grade who was not very successful with that course with me originally. And now this year he's writing me, this is only part of it. He wrote me like 2 full pages from the perspective of the character after really digging in and reading this novel and really connecting with it. Here's another example, and I'll keep it brief. This student, Sal, read a book called Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, another fantastic young adult novel that you can see the picture, who won a lot of awards. He really connected with this book, and he wrote, "My brother was shot and killed today. Mom sent Sean to grab her special soap from the store, and it was on his way back home when he was shot. His girlfriend, Letitia, was there, and she kept screaming and kissing his forehead between shrieks. She thought he wasn't dead at first, and our mom was crying, 'Not my baby, not my baby.'" So I know that you haven't read the book probably, but you can tell that the students are pulling details from the text and using creative writing as a conduit for understanding what they're reading and showing their knowledge and showing their skills as writers. Now, we also write a lot of more formal essays in the class, but this is a way of engaging them in a more creative way and getting them enjoying their books and connecting with literature on their level and getting them to write with some passion, which is really, I think, very important, especially for our young people in high school who are figuring out who they are and how they feel about the world. And Laura did a lot of things in global history.
I'll try to keep it kind of brief. What I basically did with integrating the curriculum from Art OMI is I tried to do kind of a similar technique. So I used photographs from World War I. So instead of having me teach them specific details about World War I had them pull them from photographs from World War I. So, I gave them some prompts to help them kind of analyze the photographs. And then I had them do some questions. So if you go to the next slide, you can kind of see the activities. So they would look at a photograph and spend 3 minutes looking at it and just writing down what they see, what they think, and what questions they have. And then I had students look at the photograph again and performance, just sketch one person in the image, and then spend 2 minutes kind of getting into what they think the individual was feeling, smelling, seeing, tasting. That was sorry, tasting part. So this is the photograph I chose to have them look at first about World War I. And just because they thought it was a really powerful image, and they pulled so much out of this image that there was like really no need for me to even kind of explain it. They figured it out on their own, and they actually were able to identify different members of different countries by looking at the hats and the uniforms. And it's kind of amazing what students can pull from one photograph. We spent like an hour on one photograph. So then what I had them do is, these are some of the examples. We have some artists. I mean, it's amazing what students will sketch in 4 minutes if you look at some of these, but these are some examples of kind of what they wrote down, kind of let them do it on a piece of paper, however they felt like doing it. And then for activity 2, they got to pick their own photograph from World War I, and then spend some time doing the same thing on their own, kind of sketching it, thinking about it, and then writing from the perspective of one person in the photograph. So it's kind of a nice way to get them to A, identify with the history, but B, to like, get to experience it in a way, and also, understand the trauma that people were going through while they were in trench warfare, or whatever they chose to photograph of. So if you look at the next, these were students writing assignments from the photographs, so a little hard to see, but I had them put a circle around where their perspective was, so which person they chose to write from the perspective of, and then they had to include details that they had learned about trench warfare and kind of use cues, whether it was in the dialogue or whatever, to kind of identify who they were and what was happening at the time. So if you go to the next one, you can see this student really, her first line is ash, blood, death, which is kind of an amazing first line to really think about, the experience of World War I. And then if you go to the next one, they really got to get into the characters of the people experiencing the history, which is, something that was great. And the ROMI was really for English teachers, but as a history teacher, I really enjoyed the idea of like writing a narrative, because it was something I would never have really thought about. So it was an exciting thing to add into the curriculum. So, yeah.
And we'd love to, we both teach 9th grade global history and English, and we often share students. We plan on, for our planning for next year, to incorporate a lot of work between the 2 classes, where they'll be, learning about more a topic in global with Ms. Reelman, and then they'll come over to English or vice versa, and we'll work on their narrative and look at, writing techniques and strategies as they develop creative writing that connects with history, but also is an outlet for their creativity and their interest in the subject. So we're really excited to continue this into the next school year.
I really love the creativity of these students. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
This interaction with art only is all by Zoom. Are we hoping that hopefully next year it would be in person?
Yeah, I mean, and we're used to this at this point in the high school level. As you know, we teach students in the room and on Zoom. I call them my roomies and my Zoomies. And, we're used to that duality as teachers, and then we kind of got to be on the other side of it as students in this. So of course, in-person learning is a really wonderful.
Are we anticipating that the students and you would be able to go to Arsenal and work there, because it's such a stunning place? So this is wonderful. And I was just envisioning it in their, I don't know what the name of their main building is, but it's just a great space.
Well, Shannon and I took students there last year. Was it last year? Yeah, we took students there last year for the art history, and I think it was BP art, right? So we took students there last year to kind of just experience it. So, I mean, that would be really,
So cool.
yeah, to write a narrative.
Think about
there.
that. I mean, anytime we can bring our students into an enriching setting is wonderful. It's kind of hard that this year was, a very different year, but we were even talking about before the pandemic started last year, like we should think about enriching field trips that we could take especially our 9th graders on, that would do team building, or even just something like the Art of My experience would be wonderful.
Great, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to say a final thank you to our OMI because this did not cost the district anything, and the Ellsworth Kelly Foundation for supporting this as Columbia County educators.
Thank you, Sandra. Well, next up, we have the science research expedition update. I guess that's you.
Science research.
You're up next. You choose, Sandra.
All right. So.
Long story short, we were supposed to go to Croatia in 2020, and COVID hit. So we postponed to 2021. Well, Croatia still is not open to US travelers, so we had to rethink. And part of our original Croatia group is going to wait and go next year in 2022. But part of our group wanted to go this summer to a different location, so we are going to Mexico. So we're very excited about that small group of students that will go there and be able to actually research out in the field. The neat thing about Mexico is it's one of their most established locations for Operation Wildfire. So I think the students will be able to see a depth of research that they haven't seen when we've gone to Dominica or will see in Croatia, because those are the relatively newly established sites. So I will have the students present to you after they have come back, but we're excited to go with them.
Hey, Sandra,
Yes.
if students are trying to decide which one to go on, they should know that the biodiversity in the Slovenia-Croatia area is one of the highest on the planet, other than a rainforest.
Yes, originally our plan was to do Fiji in 22, but that group of students were very aware of that, and they said, "Nah, Mrs. Gardner, we still want to go to Croatia." So yeah, they're very excited, that particular group. And what was nice was Opera really worked well with our families, I feel. Families that wanted the refund will be getting a refund. Of course, things are tied up in courts and insurances and stuff like that, but they will get that to them. And then families that wanted to go this summer, they could choose Mexico, and families that wanted to wait could wait for Croatia. So Opera is not charging the usual fee that they charge for the adults to go. So Mrs. Airy and I won't have to have the students and families absorb the cost of our tuition and room and board, so to speak. So that was really generous of them given the circumstances.
We have reports now. Superintendent Dr.
I'd like to update the board on some data that we've started to collect and report to New York State. We're reporting every day certain amounts of COVID information, testing on every type of possibility of information that you can think of, from student testing to positives to recommendations for people to get tested, as well as the antigen test. So Questar really has led the way on limited service laboratory testing. They've completed, or the component school districts have completed 6,319 antigen tests and come up with 12 positive. Taconic Hills has had 2 of those. Still not bad. Overall in the district, I've reported 33 positives. I'm going to break it up into 2 categories. K through 6, or pre-K through 6, has had 15, and 18 have been in 7 through 12. The ES, or the elementary, out of the 15 there, 6 have been teachers, 9 have been kids. And in the secondary, 6 teachers, 11 kids, 1 remote. And if you remember from early on in this process,
We had 2 positives at Brookwood, which were attributed to us. We've never been successful at getting them removed off our dashboard. And then, according to the dashboard, because they do not communicate with us, is 8 homeschool or private school children that have tested positive. So our dashboard shows a total of 43 at this time. And I'd like to put some other numbers with that. Because of those positives, we've had 822 instances of quarantine, resulting in 5,739 days not in school for those children. Okay, and what does it mean for our employees? It means our COVID-19 remote work days at 751.45, and of course that's a couple days old because we do have a faculty member on quarantine now. So it has had a significant effect on us, but still we are extremely proud to be the only school district in West R to be in person pre-K through 12 and not shut down for a COVID reason. Came very close a couple times, but we were able to tough it out, so to speak, and come out better, I think, in the end. And I think the students are going to be better in the end. Okay, just wanted to share that data with the board. Thank you.
I believe it's on the agenda to approve it. So that new business, C, which would be appropriate stuff.
I was planning to spend the rest of the last. And second, this is.
You read this, right?
I did.
Next up, we have pre-K elementary.
Evening, folks. With my faculty meetings, I always like to start with good news and good things. So for me, the good news is this is my second to last board meeting. I don't take that personally, but that's a good thing in my mind. No, seriously, building on some good things. We are undergoing some renovations in the library, and that is not just to the physical plant, but the way we do library. And I think we have a wonderful person right now, Beth Flores, who's using her imagination and her desire to make it a very attractive place in the building, a hub of activity. And one of the things she's done for years, even before she was involved in the library, is something called the Learning Fair. Now, we couldn't do all the things that we normally do to celebrate kids. We didn't have our Spring into Learning, which was, just a great event year to year. But what we are doing through the Learning Fair is giving about 70 some odd kids an opportunity to explore a topic and create these presentation boards. I don't know if you have a chance to sneak in to the school at some point, but if you can get to our elementary library, it'd be fun to see you there and have you view what these kids have put together. I think you'd be very proud of them and their creativity. So I think our library program is going to be in good hands with Ms. Flores. I think you're going to enjoy seeing the changes that come both in the physical look to the library, but also what's happening in there. I predict, as it should be, the library is going to be a place of activity and learning, and there's going to be sound, and you're not going to be shushed when you come into the library. In fact, you're going to be encouraged to explore. So this is the model, the direction that we're going, and please, if you have a chance, stop by and take a look at what we're doing with the students of that Learning Fair. Thank you, folks.
John, what would we have to do to make arrangements?
You show up at our transaction window, you say you're a board member, we'll take your temperature, and I don't have any problem with you coming in, and we'll get you down to the library and take a look.
It sounds really nice.
Anytime, we're open basically. I would say anytime between 8:15 and 2 o'clock would be best. Yeah. All right. You're welcome.
Next
Mary?
up,
John.
I don't think is this on?
Yeah.
I didn't notice the difference when I started.
Good evening.
So to kind of piggyback on what John was talking as far as celebrations, in the intermediate school, we are trying to find a way to celebrate the fact that we have been here all year. And the kids have done a tremendous job, as have the teachers. So you actually all should have received a DARE invitation. Did you get that?
Yes.
So the fifth grade DARE graduation is going to go on as it has, hopefully, in the past, and that is going to be on the turf field. We do have to make adjustments because of COVID. We are also looking at having a sixth grade moving up. I would never call it a graduation meal. Sixth grade moving up ceremony. We are going to have parents will be invited to that. There will be a seventh grade moving up. That will be more of an in-house thing. And then we will also have an eighth grade celebration with families. So you are all invited to them. We are going to get the messaging out. We've sort of been waiting to see maybe some things will change and we might be able to allow more people in. But it looks like within the next week or so, we're gonna have to put something out there. Okay? Does anybody have any questions?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Next up, Jim. Hi, Jim.
So I didn't do this on purpose, but I think I might start calling John's wife every morning for the next month to find out what he's wearing to be a twin to him, to kind of honor him throughout the rest of the year. I think that's the best tribute that I could possibly offer. Besides the hairdo, I'm working on that. I still think one of the most important jobs that the Board of Education superintendents and administrators have is to hire good teachers and support them. And I really want to point out how again, you as a board, and the superintendent, and us as administrators, I think have done that in this case. You approved many people tonight for tenure. We're lucky enough to have 3 of them here with us tonight. Joanna Skoda from the elementary school, Laura Railman, and Antonia LaRuscia also were here after being given tenure tonight. Seeing Antonia and Laura present the way they did tonight, I actually, by coincidence, and kind of tying into what you asked earlier, Dave, or Greg, about the tenure question, is that we do look at the APPR scores, but we also get to know our teachers and we see that they're becoming leaders. We see what they're doing for professional development. We try and see what kind of goals they have for the future. We try and find people that are going to be good teachers and leaders for us in the future. And you can see that in Laura and Antonia. And I got to go into Laura's class just by accident for what she presented tonight. And I saw the kids work on their pictures and see pictures and create thoughts and discuss it amongst themselves and draw it. And some of them were as bad a artists as I am, and some of them were excellent artists, but they all put thought into it. They were able to think, they were able to talk, and they would express themselves through not just drawings, but in writing. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for our teachers. So you give teachers, good teachers, the support like that, you let them find programs, introduce them to things, and all of our students are going to benefit. So I want to thank you for helping us and supporting us in the hiring of these good teachers and giving them tenure so that we can have them here for a long time. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Any questions, Jim? Okay. All right. Next up, Sandra.
Just a few things that I want to warn you about, so to speak, just so they're not surprises. One of the newer initiatives that we've been talking about for several years that we're pursuing is a career and technical education pathway. We have decided to pursue this pathway with the state in 2 subject areas, business and agriculture. We have a process to go through for that, including internal and external review by community members. Your board members that have agreed to help me with this are Joe Costa and Terry Sullivan. The reason being, Terry's been really involved in an agriculture program before she was a board member, and Joe brings a lot of the technical skill practice in his occupation to us. So we are aiming to be able to submit for this by October 1st, so that we can be able to declare a CTE pathway in both those subject areas by the following school year. We will also begin pursuing other pathways, which might be multiple subject areas like agriculture and technology, or also just plain pathways of technology and family and consumer sciences. So just wanting to make you aware that we will be talking to you about this over the next few months, and probably look for a board presentation in August, but the latest will be September. Summer program staffing is going well. We did post outside of the school district, so we will have a mixture of Taconic Hills teachers as well as teachers from Germantown. And Germantown, at this point, I believe, will be sending some of their students to us, as well as teachers from all over the Albany area. So staffing is going well. Now we really are putting a push on to have students and families commit to be part of the summer program. So anything we could do to help us get kids here, we would really appreciate it. Erin is moving along with the title presentation, and we will be ready to present to you at the board workshop next week. And we are going to propose that we go to a school-wide program. So if you have any questions before next week, would you please direct them to either Erin or myself about that. I'm really pleased to let you know that 3 of our FFA members received first place at the state level in their agri-science pair competitions. So they will be going on to represent the state at nationals, and we'll keep you posted on how they do with that. But one of them is Caden Khan. He's a 7th grader, and I really apologize about my voice. I'm trying really to be clear, but the next one is Madison Lau. She's an 11th grader, and Ellen Young, who is also an 11th grader. And finally, I'm so happy that we have reached the $25,000 endowment fund that we need for the science research endowment. So we will be dedicating that fund at the annual symposium, which is June 1st, and I believe you should have all received an invitation for that. So we hope to see you there, and we're really glad to be able to celebrate that huge accomplishment. Thank you.
You asked if we could help encourage participation in the program. I'm not sure what we could do. Could we give us some guidance?
Well, sometimes you're out and about, and people don't know about things, even though we've tried to email and message. I think everybody's role is communication. So anything you can do to communicate, hey, did you know they're offering a summer program? Talk to your child's teacher about it.
Well, of course, the friends and the like. I was wondering if you thought, is this something that we try to take out and add in the local newspaper since we open it up a school district?
That's interesting. I'm not sure how effective ads are. We do have Matt Perry working on it for us.
No, I know that thing.
Yeah, we're trying to use all the social media networks that we have. I'm hoping just by me announcing it tonight during the board meeting, it might help. So anything we can do.
I certainly.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
You have business office about?
The budget passed last night. I was a little disappointed with the turnout for the budget vote, even though last year was a very difficult year because the entire election occurred by absentee ballot. And we were in the midst of a pandemic. We had an extraordinary amount of people come out and proclaim a very deep interest and support for public education in our community. And I just don't feel that level of support was there last night. So
Just like Sandra's asking you to talk to your community and your constituents about perhaps sending your child to summer school, I would also encourage your neighbors and friends to continue to support the school district by exercising their right to vote and support the budget next year.
Something like committee report.
Yes, the audit committee met tonight with Mr. Churchill for the 2021 audit process. External audit field work, primarily part of it will be May 24th to May 26th. And the concluding external audit field work dates are going to be July 26th and July 29th. Pretty much formality to go through what's going to be done every year. Thank you.
So, well, at the meeting at the end, he gave us some resources and Sybil's gonna gather them all together and send them out to all the board members, so that you can understand the auditing process and how everything works. So it seems very informational. I'm excited to at least look through it. So we'll be getting an email. Actually, Sybil's gonna send it to me and I'll send it to all of you. All right? Okay, thanks. Next up, we have Stella.
Good evening. New York State has rated Taconic Hills as meeting all requirements deemed necessary by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That's a federal law. There are 17 indicators that we pass with passing rates. That indicates suspension rates, that indicates least restrictive environment. When students with IEPs are with general education students, they look at graduation rates and students who graduate with an IEP and their rates.
Thank you, Stella. Anybody have any questions for Stella? Next up, Elizabeth Grants. Back there.
Good evening. On the agenda tonight for approval is the bid for the auditorium sound system repair. So hopefully that'll clean up the mess that you have there in front of you with all the wires all over the stage. I'm happy to also report that it came in well under what we had budgeted, the bid did. So all of our programs will have an opportunity to utilize that, drama club, music program, and for meetings, of course. So that's what that is, just in case you didn't remember, because it's been in the works for quite a while.
Cool. Since you brought it up, I know it's coming up later, I'll ask my question now. Does this new system include like microphones that would be like for diodes like this? Or that?
Yes, there's a couple of different options. We have multiple handheld microphones included in the package, as well as lavalier microphones, and there's quite a few of them so that we could do like a whole drama production, or we could mic all of you up.
I don't know what they're called specifically, but I know for meetings like this, they have a standing microphone, and maybe they're connected Wi-Fi, but that there could be one in each person, and when they wanted to speak, they could press the on button.
Well, hopefully we're not here for long.
Right, yeah, I hope not. I don't know, I don't believe that these microphones specifically have that capability. They're mostly for performances and things like that. However, we will be able to mic people up.
Okay, thank you.
Is it for this year's budget or next year's budget?
That's this year's budget.
Sorry?
This year's,
And how much on the budget?
approximately 30,000. So we budgeted about 120 and it came in at just under
And it's
90.
a repair. I thought we were getting a new system.
It's a replacement of the system.
Replacement.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Next up, transportation, Rick. No, that's okay. I was looking out there for her. All right, next up, technology, John Dodds.
Well, everyone else is talking about what's happening now. I'm worried about what's going to happen in about 5 weeks. School ends. I need laptops back. So that's kind of, I'm talking to teachers now, planning that, getting ready for summer work. That's all I got.
He's gotta have them ready for summer school though.
Thank you, John. Next up, we got cafeteria, Pam.
Well, John has lost more than I have.
In front of me.
so tonight we just have some pasta salad with a gluten-free dressing on it. And then some chips we had from feeding the boat helpers last night. Besides that, we're just cooking, eating, you know, same old, okay?
Thanks, kid. All right, we have no old business at this time. So new business. So we have, let's see, the authorization of the disposal of obsolete or surplus equipment and supplies consisting of various textbooks. Can I have a motion, please? Motion, Alicia, second. Joe? Any questions? All in favor? Right, Linda, you there, Linda? Linda? I can hear you. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna turn you up now, okay? All right. Next up, we have the approval of the Opwall Science Research Expedition to the Mexico Cancun region departing on or around June 27, 2021, and returning on around July 11, 2021. Can I have a motion, please? Ron, I'm going to write your name, Ron. Second.
You and my wife.
Any questions? I'm sorry. Any questions on the trip?
I guess just because it's travel and we're just coming out of this COVID situation, hopefully we continue to improve. When I was looking at the material, I was just curious about what precautions are in place or what contingency plans are in place in the event that there's a spike or there is a situation where people have to be quarantined because, you know, when you're going out of your area, in a group, who knows what's going to happen. So I'm just curious about those contingencies.
Sandra, I know you've been discussing these with the families and students.
Yes, so Outlaw has met with the families. And there is a risk, there's no question. And that's why some of the families chose to just wait another year. So each family was able to measure that risk. Outlaw also measures their risk constantly. So they have professionals that are used to dealing with their sites and they make those decisions. The other piece is there's not a lot of civilization where the students are going. So it will be really self-contained groups. So they won't have a lot of exposure beyond the airports to other people.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I just.
And certainly that was considered.
Of course.
Yes.
And there's an inoculation requirement?
No inoculation requirement.
All right. Questions? Any other questions? All in favor? We'll get your lip up again. Linda, you hear me, Linda? Okay, thank you. You keep echoing. You know what? I think it's because you're watching Zoom. So there's like a lot of noise disturbance in the back. I think that's how I figured it out. Thank you. All right, so now next up, we have the approval of the annual district election results held on May 18, 2021. Can I have a motion, please? Ron, second. Dave? Okay, questions?
So if I could give the
Yep.
board some data
Yep.
on the election last night. There were 504 scanned ballots. There was 155 absentee ballots sent. There was 57 returned. There was 40 ballots had write-in candidates on them. 9 absentee ballots had write-ins on them. And you have in front of you the results of the vote. We had our council here from 2 p.m. on to
10 o'clock or so. We did have some power glitches at the time. Everything seemed to work well. The county had a little bit of trouble getting started, and some people had to wait in line at the very beginning. Most of you will remember Mr. Piper, who was second in line, and probably had to wait about 15, 20 minutes until they were able to set the machine up properly. So I told him I would let you guys know of his concern. You know, Ron. Ron,
I
let
do
you
know.
know. Okay. Is there any other questions at this time? I would like, before I take those, I would like to thank Ashley Goodacre and Eileen Olson, who did an outstanding job of not only running the election as a board clerk or chief election inspector and answering people's questions and trying to accommodate everyone. And I also like to thank Pam for a great job on the food for everyone last night. So, any questions on that? Question? Yep.
My understanding was that there was an issue with somewhere between 3 and 6 ballots that had to be rescanned. Are you,
Where'd you get that information from?
are you familiar with the situation?
I know that we had people who, through our process of cross-checking, showed up in our one database and not show up in another database who voted. So everyone voted. All the absentee ballots were counted.
Okay.
The only, if you don't mind, I'll step in for that one. Are you talking about the ballot, the write-in ballots where they were scanning them on the machine?
Yes.
Okay, so if they were there, what happened was is when you have a write-in ballot, it goes into the machine and it goes on one side, and a regular ballot goes on the other side. So the county was there and they opened it up and they noticed that the couple of write-in ballots were going into the regular bin instead of the write-in bin. So they were rescanning them. It's not recounting them, it's rescanning them. So they were there doing that. Then at the end of the night, what happened was, is the votes were so close, we had to open up every absentee ballot, count all those. And then for that, we went through the entire stack of the 500 ballots to make sure that any write-in ballot also didn't have one of the board members on there written that were, or anyone that was running instead of just a random write-in. So that, if that helps answer your question.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the 57 absentee ballots that were returned, can somebody address that?
They were all counted.
What does that mean they were returned?
They came here.
They came back to the building in the mail.
You're coming up with stuff that's not true. So where are you getting your information?
I'm asking questions.
Yes, but
The
you were.
57 ballots that were returned were sent to the school to count.
So I mailed out 155.
She answered my question quite nicely, so I don't know what your issue is.
It's because of the questions you're asking specifically.
I'm entitled to ask questions.
So 155 people filled out absentee ballot applications. I mailed out 155
Excuse me,
absentee
one moment,
ballots.
please. Neil said there was 155 absentee applications and 57 returned, and I'm asking for clarification on what that is.
Returned just came back to the building. I scanned them into the computer system. They were then counted at 10 o'clock last night.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, I think.
So I have a question for you, Bonnie.
Yes.
What is your issue with me asking a question for clarification for what Neil asked?
Well, let me ask you this.
No, I'd like for you to answer my question. No, you answer my question.
No, you're going to answer my question.
I'm not gonna, I'm not obligated. That's right. So don't interrupt me when I'm asking questions, because that is my right as a board member to ask
You were here
questions.
last night holding up the election process, asking questions of Eileen.
How long was our conversation when I asked, I believe I asked you something about were any voters turned away, and you said no, and I told you I was very happy to hear that. I think we spent about maybe 30 seconds, a minute. Did you?
I'd say it was a little bit longer than that,
How
but
long would you say?
about 5 minutes.
Okay, and did I prevent you from doing your job in some way?
No.
Thank you.
So we did have a question as to whether that was election interference. And I just want to make sure that the board understands their role in the election process. And I was questioned about this, so I just need to
Can you
remind.
just shrug your shoulders like big deal?
I just need to remind everyone that there's a time and a place for things. And during the ballot process, it was questioned to me whether it was appropriate for a board member to be asking those types of questions. And this came from a county election official.
And what was the response? Was it inappropriate?
I did not know what happened at the time. I since have found out, and I think it's debatable. So I'm leaving that up to the county.
Okay. Looking forward to hearing somebody.
My question to you is this: if I was the one that had the 291 votes, would we be having the same conversation?
Honest answer?
Honest answer.
No, you would
There we
not.
go. And there we have it. You're all paying attention.
The way you treat me on this board, and Joe, the way you treat me on this board, it's abhorrent.
Well, I'm just curious that if you really look at all your questions you ask, they're really helping educate the kids, okay?
But Joe, tell me, give me a question, Joe, that you have wanted, that you discussed about educating the kids.
Who's your boss?
Sybil Howard.
Oh, okay. So you were not obligated to ask somebody, answer a question to somebody that was asking questions that really was not their concern, correct?
Well, at the time chief inspector, I was just trying to help people. It was a little chaotic. It was, Ashley's first time running an election, my first time running an election. So
But
we were
the thing
just
is, it's
doing the
kind
best
of
we could.
difficult for a board member to interrogate.
I think
on what was going on.
interrogation is an
On what was going on.
exaggeration
So you
of
could-
what was going on.
He dishes it out to you as you see, so.
Of course, it's my interpretation.
I
It's
appreciate
an
it.
exaggeration.
You know,
I thought you gave very
I
honest,
think next
satisfactory
time,
answers.
the board should not be-
And I think your motivation is just to harass me, as you continue to do over a large number of meetings.
You know,
So
you
you-
started to ask this question about the election early on. You get a copy of this agenda, and you didn't even know that it was in later in the agenda. You don't
I
come
knew
prepared
it.
to the meetings. You're not reading your agenda before you get here. Well, all I'm asking from you, Craig, is to be a great.
All I'm
board
asking
member.
from you,
I'm
Bonnie,
asking
is to
for you
behave
be a good board
properly
member.
and civilly and not attack me for asking questions, which you don't seem to like. You don't seem to like questions.
It's
All I
not
asked-
like questions.
All I asked was for somebody to clarify what Neil meant by 57 return ballots. That's all I asked. I don't understand the issue with getting clarification. I didn't accuse anybody of anything. I didn't say any ballots were
No,
invalid.
don't come right out and accuse, but that is.
Well, I'm accusing you right now of not behaving properly, especially as a board president who's supposed to be trying to run a meeting instead of attacking a particular board
You
member
know
on a
what,
consistent
Frank,
basis.
you're absolutely right. I'll apologize to you right now. How's that? But from now
Thank
on, I would like you to come prepared to the meetings. Prepared. And if you have a question, like you had a question earlier tonight that could have been asked before this meeting, that you waited to the meeting to ask the question. So I would like you to be more prepared for the meetings. Can you at least?
I think I do prepare for the meetings.
Can you
Why,
please offer me
that's
that?
why I have questions,
Can you at least offer me that?
that I'll be more prepared.
Correct.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, do you have any more questions?
I do not.
Anyone else have any more questions?
And I realize this issue tends to be very contentious and appreciate people's passion. What I did want to say was, I recognize when I came to vote that a lot of effort had gone into populating a database that I'm not really fully sure what the system is capable of doing. But clearly, everybody spent a lot of effort trying to make this new system work. no new system works 100% flawlessly. I recognize that. I'm sure there were glitches. I understand the pressure. What I do, the one question I do have is, I would appreciate as a board, if maybe we could have a workshop that speaks to what the system is and how it works and what it's capable of doing. Because clearly it's very sophisticated. My understanding is that anybody who showed up was successfully able to vote, and that's a good thing. And the way the district presented, the formal books, all that sort of stuff, those things I thought was a very positive thing. So while for some, the outcome might be disappointing, understandably, I think there was an effort to make it as smooth as possible. Appreciated that.
I felt the same way, actually.
And some of the language, some of the language is not clear to everyone that they are not familiar with voting and the terminology, so.
Okay, any more questions on this? All in favor? Linda? You there, Linda? We voted on the election results? Are you yay or nay? Okay, thank you, Linda.
We thank Linda for her participation and efforts.
Can she hear?
I just wanted to thank Linda for her service and for participating and stepping up to the plate.
Did you hear that, Linda? You don't even have a microphone over there. Terry wanted to thank you for your participation and service in this process. Okay, moving on. So now we have the approval of following donation. We have $94.10 from Box Tops for Education for the Taconic Hills Elementary School yearbook. Can I have a motion, please? Motion.
Oh, really? You skipped one. You skipped one.
Oh, I did? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry about that. All right, so I need an approval of the shared transportation services agreement between Taconic Hills and Hudson, effective May 3rd, 2021 to June 25th, 2021. Can I have a motion? No, I checked it off already. That's fine. Dave, second. Ron, any questions on that? Shared services?
Sure. This was a Hudson student who was declared homeless and was found in our district. So we're helping them out by transporting them to the program. So it's all our guys.
Okay. All in favor? Linda? Thanks, Linda. All right, next is the donation for $94.10. Can I have a motion? Alicia, second. Heidi, any questions on that donation? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Linda. All right, we have the approval of the following bid award from Ronco Specialized Systems, Performing Arts Center Sound System Repair for $89,052. Can I have a motion, please? Motion, Ron, Dave, second. Any questions? You already asked your question.
Already
before,
asked,
right?
yeah.
Anybody else?
Would you like some more?
All in favor?
Oh, when will it be done?
I have to see what the lead time on the equipment is, so I don't have an answer for that just yet.
But hopefully by the beginning of the school year kind of thing?
I would definitely think by the beginning of the school year, as long as there's no complications getting the equipment, we have to wait for it to get approved before they can start.
No, I understand the supply chain is very iffy nowadays.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have, whereas the Taconic Hill Central School District is scheduled to host the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Section 2 Track and Field Sectionals Tournament on June 7th and 9th, 2021. And whereas the Taconic Hills Booster Club organizes events and activities at the benefit of the Chicana Hills Central School District, its students and community members. And whereas the Chicana Hills Booster Club has submitted a request to collect admission fees during a district-operated athletic event for the benefit of the Booster Club and the district, and whereas the Chicana Hills Booster Club has been approved to use the district grounds and facilities during the track and field sectional tournament, and whereas the Chicana Hills Board of Education wishes to allow the Chicana Hills Booster Club to collect fees during the track and field sectional tournament, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Education of Chicana Hills Central School District hereby approves and authorizes the Chicana Hills Booster Club to collect admission fees for each day of the track and field sectional tournament occurring on June 7, 2021, June 8, 2021, and June 9, 2021. Can I have a motion, please? Ron, second. Dave, any questions on that?
We have some individuals.
What's the admission charge? It's been a while since I've been to a. No more than $3 per person. No more than $3, Linda.
I'm just not clear, why would we have to?
Because we have.
They changed their rules during COVID. And typically, any fee would go to the section. The sections decided that schools and districts could keep the fees or put it out to one of their groups to make some money. So that's what we're opting to do. As you know, many school districts are still not in person fully. Chicana Hills is, and we've got a great facility out there. Rarely have the people from Albany, Schenectady, all the way up to Schuylerville come down and compete on our fields. They were closed for COVID, and we're trying to open up back slowly. And this was an opportunity to not only showcase our athletes, showcase our physical plant, but to make a $10.
Oh, I just didn't understand why we had, I appreciate the extensive explanation. I didn't understand why we had approved fees being charged.
Well, because we typically don't do that.
Yeah, we usually don't charge for.
So we can't make those back. No, it's usually in Schuylerville or in Regina. And instead of canceling it, Chicana Hills stepped up to the plate, taking ownership of that. We've had other charities.
Yeah.
We took the true conference.
Yeah. So how many schools are they coming, do you think?
8 to 10, in that range.
I'm gonna have to go one of these days.
This is
I will
class,
not work the concession.
class C. We're considered class C.
Okay, cool, so that's it.
Yes.
All right, any more questions on that? All in favor? So I'm gonna, the public forum, go to anybody for a second public forum?
I don't think anybody else.
Oh, no, okay. So additional items to discuss, we need to set up a policy meeting date. So Dave, you probably should get that tonight, even if, you know, other than Todd, he's not here, but
Well,
we really need to get this going.
yeah, no, I know. That's why I sent out the email last week. But busy, fine, I get it. Todd did reply that he was back from his travel.
Okay.
Do you want to pick that down? or-
Yeah, let's pick it right now, so we have it in stone.
So I have some confusion on my calendar. I have a board meeting for next week.
We have a workshop presented by our administrative intern next week.
Okay, that's at 5:30.
Correct.
Okay, but we didn't have a meeting after that?
To my
Okay,
knowledge.
that's why the confusion happened.
No, we are having a workshop next Wednesday. Correct.
So I'm available, afternoon. Wednesday before, if we wanted to meet before that workshop,
Oh, no, we need time. We got a lot of stuff to go over.
or Friday.
I'm looking for Tuesday. Friday's not a good day for policy meeting.
No.
No.
That might be why I have Friday.
Good point. Tuesday good for you, Craig? That will be,
I come back Tuesday. I don't know.
all right. You want to see if Todd's available?
Tuesday in the boardroom, one time?
5:30, 50?
I could do it early, right? I have an
I could do it
obligation
earlier too,
around like 4 o'clock.
Can you see if Todd can do it at 4? I'm good for 4. All right?
That's the 25th, right?
Yeah.
Because of one of the topics, is it possible that maybe Jim could be here?
Yes, I'll,
Yeah.
fill him in.
Yep. That's one of the things we have to go, we need to get started.
Right.
But there's some other things that Neil brought up that we gotta address.
Yes.
Okay, so May 25th, 4 o'clock.
And we'll need the board.
Yeah,
So I will be probably bringing another, Stella to,
okay,
that time.
All right.
So,
And I would ask if there's some other documents that you might have that might not be policies.
did you say you found something? Did you find some stuff?
I emailed all the things I
Okay.
found.
So that's set. I need some pictures, anything else here, right? So now we're gonna need a motion to go into executive session. Can I have a motion, please? Ron, second. Joe? I can't see you, Joe. I just saw your hand. All right, all in favor? Thank you, Linda.